Hello everyone, this is a bit of a new series I'm envisioning. As many of you know or can deduce based on the really random topics I usually choose for my lore facts, the main storyline of World of Warcraft isn't really the main draw for me when it comes to the lore. Rather, it's the universe itself and the various side stories that help enrichen it. So I decided to make a series focusing on the minor characters that I found to be interesting. These can range from, say, characters that are only in the focus of the story for a questline or two, or side characters in a novel, to really minor characters mentioned only in legends or hearsay. Without any further ado, I decided to start the series with the minor character that I think is one of the coolest of them all, Asara Varind, one of the champions in the Legion Mage Order Hall. Asara is somewhat unusual for a Blood Elf. She's a very skilled mage, to the point that she was even recruited into the Tyr's Guard, but unlike most of her kin, she is very outspoken, can come across as fairly rambunctious, and even prefers to live her life on the road and not in Silvermoon. Her attitude naturally created some awkwardness between her and her peers and superiors within the Magisters. That being said, she is one of the good guys. She even considers fell magic to be, quote, blasphemous, and that no mage should ever trifle with it. So basically, she was just annoying enough to be a nuisance in the Magisters, but not disruptive enough to actually warrant any disciplinary action, and loyal and powerful enough to even have some influence in the organization as a whole. Faced with this awkward position, Grand Magister Romath appointed her as the Magister's Seeker of Wisdom, someone charged with traveling beyond Quel'thalas in search of magical artifacts, power, information, all that stuff for the Magister. While this was de facto a sort of mutually beneficial exile, it also demonstrates her power and status within the Order. The Seeker of Wisdom is someone who answers directly to Grand Magister Romath. She is basically his agent in the outside world. It's also proof that she is powerful enough to handle herself out there and even investigate the dangerous and strange sources of magic that exist throughout Azeroth. She is also influential enough within the Magisters to actually make a guarantee to the Conjurer of the Tyr's Guard, aka you the player, that the Magisters will support the Tyr's Guard. In a way, her story really reminds me of Khadgar's in the beginning of the Last Guardian novel. Namely, the main reason the Kirin sent Khadgar to be Medivh's apprentice, other than his magical talent and to spy on the Guardian, was the fact that Khadgar was too nosy and outspoken, always trying to pry into the secrets of his fellow mages, asking questions he wasn't supposed to, so the Kirin just wanted him to get out of their way. Asara is similarly a very curious individual when you interact with her, and it's easy to imagine that she also might have irked her fellow Magisters in similar ways. Now, her role in the game is limited, to my personal dismay. While investigating Archmage Vargoth, who was possessed by the Dreadlord Kathra'natir in the Mage Order Hold storyline, you come across his links to the Empyrean Society, a group of highly unconventional mages not sanctioned by the Kirin. One of your champions, Ravendwyr, Vargoth's apprentice, makes contact with Asara, and the three of you investigate the Empyrean Society's compound in Azsuna together. Well, surprise, they are actually practitioners of fell magic, and you and Asara, after Ravendwyr is captured, slaughtered a lot. She then joins you as one of the Order Hall champions. Now, and I would be remiss if I did not say this, the main reason she stood out to me so much is her actual way of fighting in combat. She's a very rare example in Warcraft of what you would call a battle mage, a mage who also fights using melee weapons, in her case a sword. Personally, in more free-form medieval fantasy RPGs like, say, The Elder Scrolls for instance, battle mages are not really my thing. I usually go for, say, magic or a stealth build or some combination thereof. But I've always found battle mage NPCs to be awesome, to be able to blend physical combat with spellcaster magic. And Asara is a fire mage, which, as we all know, is the best kind of mage, but also fights using a sword. As she states, she actually trained as a warrior when she was young, and even though she's a magister now, still considers herself to be pretty decent with a sword. I also think it perfectly fits her unorthodox and misfit nature within the Magisters. It's hard to see the typically stuffy and close-minded Magisters of Silvermoon actually launch themselves into combat with a sword in one hand and a fireball in the other, rather than attacking from a distance. So this was a story of, again, in my opinion, one of the coolest minor characters in Warcraft, Asara Varind. Leave any thoughts in the comments below, and I'd also love to hear if you have any favorite minor characters. Now, I actually already made a list of about 50 or so of them that I would eventually do videos on, so I'm not really asking because I would need ideas, rather I am genuinely curious. Minor characters are, by definition, almost easy to miss, and cool and interesting stories should always be highlighted. Alright, I'll see you all later and farewell.